really getting out of hand, and you and I think, 44 other attorney generals filed a lawsuit against some generic drug companies. Let's talk a little bit about that this morning.
We did. This past week, we filed a lawsuit along with 43 other states and territories against a company called Teva Pharmaceuticals and 19 other of the nation's largest generic drug manufacturers. And what we've alleged in this complaint is that they engaged in a real broad conspiracy to artificially inflate and manipulate prices in the market, which was designed to reduce competition and unreasonably restrain trade for more than 100 generic drugs. And, Scott, as you know, the whole idea behind generic drugs is that they're supposed to be less expensive, right? These companies and their senior executive officials, including 15 of them that we've sued, engaged in egregious behavior in meeting in social circles and over the email and phone calls, and basically worked together to inflate the prices of these drugs artificially. And so we're going to go after them, or we are going after them, and we intend to not only seek damages and penalties under each state and territory's consumer protection laws, but we'll get prospective relief as well to force them to not engage into this behavior in the future.
I'm going to play a little clip here from a local doctor, Dr. Brad Fuller, on his thoughts on this generic price fixing.
That the older people have a fixed income and they only have a certain number of dollars, and if these dollars are going towards their medicines that used to be generic or $4 a month and now they're a lot more, that means there's less food on the table, or that means they can't get their grandbabies toys, or, there's so many trickle-down things from this greed that these people are choosing medicine versus food. That's wrong. That's not right.
Dr. Brad Fuller, your thoughts on his statement?
Well, that's absolutely right. Of course, the people who are hit hardest are the ones that are on fixed income. We have generic drugs so that people can afford them, so we thought. And for these companies to conspire to manipulate the market in this way, to line their pockets, is absolutely unconscionable. And it's not just about the money. It's about, as the doctor said, it's about the harm to households, to people's health, having to choose, whether to pay the rent or pay for their drugs. Those are choices that shouldn't be forced to be made in this kind of a way, with these people lining their pockets and manipulating these markets.
Last week I talked with Yellowstone County Sheriff Mike Linder and Yellowstone County Attorney Scott Twydo on the governor vetoing this DUI law. Let's talk a little bit about that, and I just scratched my head on this one.
Yeah, we, of course, my office had a very comprehensive DUI bill that would have totally rewrote the DUI laws to make them easier to administer and easier to understand. And we also took a number of we were going to take a number of loopholes out, and unfortunately that bill died in committee, House Judiciary Committee, and this is a different bill than the one you're talking about, but we understood that the governor's office had something to do with that, and that's very unfortunate because we have a terrible drinking and driving problem in this state, and we just need to get a handle on it. And hopefully we can get that bill through in the next legislature with whoever the new governor might be. But, we need to take proactive steps in addressing the DUI problem, and I'm confident that we'll eventually get there. The tragedy is that in the meantime there will be people dying because of inactivity in our leaders. So anyway, we're going to keep working on it.
Let's do a little wrap-up of the legislative session. Of course, drug courts was talked a lot about. Any more monies going to those courts?
Yeah, Scott, as a part of our comprehensive Aid Montana plan, which is designed to address our substance use disorder crisis in the state, we knew that early intervention in the lives of individuals who may be just in the beginnings of a substance use disorder disease is very valuable. And so our treatment courts, whether they be the drug courts, the veteran courts, the family courts, et cetera, have been very effective in getting people back on track. We use interdisciplinary teams of individuals within the court system to get these people help and also hold them accountable. And the unfortunate thing is the state really didn't have much skin in the game in terms of money, and a lot of people didn't have drug courts available to them in their counties, and those counties that do have them have waiting lists. So we brought House Bill 654. We asked Zach Brown, representative, to carry it, and thankfully it passed, and there'll be additional funding available now to the drug courts all across the state to expand their capacity, get them in counties where they don't already exist. And again, that's just one piece of the puzzle in addressing this substance use disorder crisis. We also need to make sure we do prevention and education. There will always be some bad actors that law enforcement needs to arrest, and we certainly need to continue to work on treatment options as well.
Now, you have a press conference coming up this morning. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So the legislature acted this session in passing a number of bills designed to address the missing and murdered Indigenous persons, primarily women and girls, in Indian country. And our office helped draft one of those bills, Hannah's Act, and we helped get it through the legislature along with some of the others. So we're not waiting to act now that these pieces of legislation have been passed. So today we're announcing what we're going to do through our office going forward to work on to address missing Indigenous persons in our state. So we'll announce that here this afternoon. And the other thing that we're doing is we're doing a training in Helena on June 12th in conjunction with the U.S. Attorney's Office and Kurt Alme down from your neck of the woods, who's a great U.S. attorney. We'll be training not only law enforcement officers on how to handle investigations and whatnot having to do with missing persons, but we'll have a track that will also educate the public on what they can do to be a part of the solution. So stay tuned. You'll see more about that in the news. We'll issue a press release today, and hopefully we can raise the dialogue on this issue going forward.